vacation as well. So today we are reciting from Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, and text number 7. So this verse, this chapter is entitled The Appearance of Śukadeva Gosvāmī, as we know. 119.7. Yep, the verse is there. Thank you, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udriyat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, text number 7. So I'll just recite the verse. Iti vyavachidya sa pandaveyaha prayopavesham prati vishnupadyam dadhau mukundam girim ananya bhavo muni vrato mukta samasta sangaha. Synonyms. Iti, thus, Vyavachitya, having decided, Sa, the king, Pandaveha, worthy descendant of the Pandavas, Praya Upaveshna, for fasting until death, Prati, toward, Vishnu Padyam, on the bank of the Ganges, emanating from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, Dadhau gave himself up, Mukunda Angrim, unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, Ananya, without deviation, Bhavaha, spirit, Muni Vrataha, with the vows of a sage, Mukta, liberated from, Samasta, all kinds of, Sangha, association. Translation and peppered by His Divine Grace. By Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all and sat on the Ganges bank to fast until death and give himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who alone is able to award liberation. So, freeing himself from all kinds of associations and attachments, he accepted the vows of a sage. Would someone like to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can do that. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The water of the Ganges sanctifies all the three worlds, including the gods and the demigods, because it emanates from the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Vishnu. Lord Krishna is the fountainhead of the principle of Vishnu Tattva, and therefore shelter of his lotus feet can deliver one from all sins, including an offense committed by a king onto a Brahmana. Maharaj Parikshit therefore decided to meditate upon the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, who is Mukunda, or the giver of liberation of all description. The banks of the Ganges or the Yamuna give one a chance to remember the Lord continuously. Maharaj Parikshit freed himself from all sorts of material association and meditated upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and that is the way of liberation. To be free from all material association means to cease completely from committing any further sins. To meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord means to become free from the effects of all previous sins. The conditions of the material world are so made that one has to commit sins willingly or unwillingly. And the best example is Maharaj Parikshit himself, who was a recognized sinless pious king. But he also became a victim of an offense, even though he was ever unwilling to commit such a mistake. He was cursed also, but because he was a great devotee of the Lord, even such reverses of life became favorable. The principle is that one should not willingly commit any sin in his life and should constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord without deviation. Only in such a mood will the Lord help the devotee make regular progress towards the path of liberation and thus attain the lotus feet of the Lord. Even if there are accidental sins committed by the devotee, the Lord saves the surrendered soul from all sins, as confirmed in all scriptures. Swapadamoolam bhajata priyasya Tvatyabhyayavasya hariparish Tvaktanyabhavasya hariparisha Vikarma yachopatitam kathanchit Dhunoti sarvam hidi sannavishta. Bhagavatam 11.5.42. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Well recited. Thank you. I'll just quickly read the translation just to finish that purport. So there was no translation in there. So the translation of 11.5.42 is, one who has thus given up all other engagements and has taken full shelter at the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, if such a surrendered soul accidentally commits some sinful activity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction to such a sin. Om Jnana-timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam 119.7. I'll quickly read the translation again. Thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all and sat on the Ganges bank to fast until death and give himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who alone is able to award liberation. So freeing himself from all kinds of associations and attachments, he accepted the vows of a sage. So in this verse, it describes how Maharaj Parikshit, having accepted his fate, renounces worldly attachments and prepares to fast until death on the banks of the sacred river. So he surrenders himself completely to the lotus feet of Krishna, embracing the vows of sage with unwavering devotion. So this verse also symbolizes spiritual and philosophical depths as well. So let's see what are some of the themes that come out from this verse. It's quite important and relevant to our lives as well, because we all have to die one day. So renunciation and surrender is the first one that comes to mind in this verse. So Maharaj Parikshit's decision to fast until death is not just a reaction to being cursed. It's a conscious act of renunciation that he took. And he's teaching us that true renunciation is internal, not external. True renunciation is internal. What does that mean? It means a shift from worldly identity to spiritual awakeness or consciousness. So there has to be a paradigm shift from worldly identity to spiritual consciousness. So we can see here he fasted on the banks of the rivers. Sanatan Prabhu covered at length in detail yesterday about the importance, the Ganga and Yamuna and so forth. But our question should be, regardless of where Maharaj Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that's the important bit we take from there. That we also have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the key thing. And once we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva. All the abhadras, all the unwanted things, habits, they slowly are eradicated from our lives. And he surrendered to Krishna, Mukunda. And Maharaj Parikshit, he does not seek liberation through ritual or penance, but through devotional meditation by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. We also hear the story of King Bharat in Canto 5, I think it's chapter 8. He renounced everything. He renounced his kingdom to pursue his spiritual realization. And we all hear and learn about Maharaj Bharat's 3 lives. First, he was the King Bharat. Second, he became a Diya. And thirdly, he became Jar Bharat. So as a king, he was very wise and powerful king, but he renounces everything for spiritual life. But when he rescues this deer from the river, he nurtures the deer, looks after the deer, gets attached to the deer. And at the time of death, he was thinking of the deer. And Bhagavad Gita saying, Yam Yam Vapi Smaranam Bhav, whatever you think at the time of death, Krishna says, that's the body you'll attain without fail. So because he was such a powerful king, Raja Rishi, even in the second life of a deer, he could still remember the practice of spiritual life which he had from the previous birth. But his attachment to his deer family causes him to be reborn. And then he takes another birth as Jar Bharat. So he seemingly was withdrawn from the world. He seems matted, unintelligent, but actually deep inside, he was connected to the divine. And that's what called internal renunciation, which Maharaj Parikshit is also showing here. So Jar Bharat's wisdom and spiritual realization are eventually recognized, and he attains liberation. So we can see from the lives of these great personalities, like even Jar Bharat, his journey through the 3 lives, king, Diya, and Sage, illustrates how attachment can hinder liberation. But on the other hand, devotion purifies the soul and awards liberation. So attachment hinders liberation, and devotion awards liberation. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentions about the devotees' no desire for material attachments or material enjoyment. So there is a nice song by Narottam Das Thakur, you probably know this, Gauranga Bolite Have Pulaka Sharira. So in the second stanza it says, Arakabe nitai chanda Karuna hoibe Samsara basana mura Tabe tu chahabe. So Srila Prabhupada describes Arakabe nitai chanda. Samsara basana means desire for material enjoyment. And here it says, Narottam Das Thakur says, that the symptom of one who has actually received the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda is that he has no more material desire. He has no more desire for material sense enjoyment. Once we come to this stage that I don't want any more material enjoyment, no sense enjoyment, that means we are receiving the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. That's very important because he's the original spiritual master, and we need the mercy of the spiritual master in our devotional lives. But on the other hand, devotees don't give up things falsely, like Markat Vairagya or say Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation. Rather, they use everything in Krishna service, which is called Yukta Vairagya. Actually, the whole principle of this Krishna consciousness movement is based on these two words, Yukta Vairagya. So whatever we have, just like Srila Prabhupada taught us by his own examples, whatever a devotee possesses, whatever he has by the grace of Krishna, he uses it back in Krishna service. That's Yukta Vairagya. Everything belongs to Krishna and should be used in Krishna service. For example, our eating habits, our sleeping habits, in moderation, just to keep the body and soul together. Sometimes, devotees might fast for so long that it actually kind of hinders in the devotional service. One time there was a devotee in New Zealand. He was fasting for Janmashtami, and he was going like 8, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Then he just couldn't take it. And he said, "Krishna, why did you choose to appear at midnight? Couldn't you have come a bit earlier, for the devotees to fast till midnight?" So that was funny. But so we have to be practical in our devotional service as well. Accept things favorable and reject things unfavorable. So that was renunciation and surrender. Second point that comes here is the vows of a sage. Very important as well. It says in the verse Muni Vrataha. That indicates that Maharaj Parikshit adopts the lifestyle of a sage. And what's the lifestyle of a sage? He's detached, he's contemplative, meaning thoughtful, meditative, and he's spiritually laser focused. So the lifestyle of a sage depends on that he is detached, he's contemplative, and he's spiritually focused. So this shift marks a transition from royal duty to spiritual pursuit, showing that true wisdom lies in knowing when to let go. It's very important for us as well. As we age, as we go further or deeper into our spiritual lives, we should know that there would be a point in our lives that we have to understand and know that it's time to let go. So Srila Prabhupada, we can see so many vows. Look at the example of Srila Prabhupada. He took the instructions of his Guru Maharaj as his personal vow to publish books and preach in the Western countries. So whatever instructions we get from our Guru Maharaj, we should execute them to the best of our ability. Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj says that when our desire, please hear this devotees, this is really interesting and important, says when our desire to serve goes deeper than our capacity and beyond our limits, then empowerment happens. So when we have a desire to do some service and that desire goes quite deep into our hearts and it's beyond our capacity to do it and even beyond our limits, and if we are able to execute that, then empowerment happens. Sometimes the Guru might give instruction that might seem impossible to execute. But if we have faith in the instructions of our spiritual master, then we are able to do that service. Why? Because with the instructions come the mercy of the Guru to be able to execute that service. Right? With the instruction comes the mercy of the Guru to be able to execute that service. Srila Prabhupada once asked our Guru Maharaj, Srila Tamal Krishna Gosvāmī, to do Harinam in the sky. And you might think, what kind of request or instruction is this? Do Harinam in the sky? How is that possible? But for Tamal Krishna Goswāmī, nothing was impossible. Especially if Srila Prabhupada has request. They had so much faith in Prabhupada's word. They said, if Prabhupada has said it, it must be true. So guess what? One time he was flying, and he went to the air hostess and said, can I use your PA system for a few minutes? Those days they allowed him, and he used the PA system just to say a few words about the holy name, and he made everyone chant Hare Krishna so many thousand feet above in the sky. So everything's possible. So we should also accept some spiritual vows, which is called sankalpa, in our lives as well. Some devotees, I'll chant my 16 rounds every morning. Some say I'll follow Ekadashi. Some even do Nirajal every Ekadashi. Some say I'm going to save the devotees in need. Some do some fixed service at the temple. Whatever it might be, whatever our sankalpa might be, we should have some spiritual vows. And slowly we will progress in our spiritual lives as well. So third point is liberation through devotion. This verse emphasizes ananya bhava, undivided attention or exclusive devotion to Lord Krishna. It teaches that liberation or moksha is not earned by austerity alone, but by wholehearted surrender to the divine. And sincere repentance leads to spiritual elevation. Right? So when we surrender, we all know there are 6 aspects of surrender: accepting things which is favorable, rejecting things which is unfavorable, having faith in Lord's protection, accepting the Lord as one's maintainer, considering oneself not independent, always dependent on the Lord. And the 6th one is always be meek and humble. So here we see Śukadeva Goswāmī, though already liberated, he chose to speak Srimad Bhāgavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And this act highlights the power of storytelling, like spiritual storytelling, if you like, and how hearing about Krishna can lead to moksha. So that's what Parikshit Maharaj chose to do, just hear about Krishna. That's the first stage of devotional service. The next point is cleansing of karma. Maharaj Parikshit act is also a way to atone for his offense against Brahmana. So by meditating on Krishna, he seeks to cleanse both past and future karmic entanglements, even accidental ones. So by constantly remembering the Lord without deviation, it says in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that the Lord within our heart cleanses us from all our sins, whether it's in the seed form, it has fructified, in the past, present, or future, all sins are gone. Just by hearing and remembering constantly about Krishna. And the Bhagavatam suggests that even a great devotee may stumble, but sincere repentance and devotion can transform adversity into spiritual progress. Even in Bhagavad Gita 9:30, it says, Api che suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhur eva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, most sinful act, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is considered saintly. Why? Because he is properly situated in his determination. So even if there's slips or falls in devotional service, but if we are situated with full determination, oh my dear Krishna, please forgive me, but I'm back here. I'm here to save you, with full determination and full surrender. Krishna always pardons. So the next one is turning adversity into grace. Maharaj Parikshit curse becomes a blessing, giving him the opportunity to hear the Bhagavatam from Śukadeva Goswāmī. So even suffering can be a catalyst for spiritual awakening, right? Maharani Kunti prays to Krishna for more suffering, so she can remember Krishna more. But we have to approach with humility and devotion. Then suffering can be a catalyst for spiritual awakening. We can see the example of Prahlad Maharaj in Canto 7. Even though he was tortured by his father Hiranyakashipu, he remained steadfast in his devotion to Lord Nrsimhadev. So his story shows that faith in the divine can transcend fear, it can transcend pain, it can transcend persecution, torture, whatever you want to call it. If you have strong faith, you can go past anything. So these are some of the themes that come out from this verse, which we wanted to discuss. Renunciation, it's about surrender, the vows of a sage, how we can have our personal vows as well, liberation through devotion, and then cleansing of karma by meditating on Krishna, and turning adversity into grace. So the sufferings might be there, but it can also help us in our spiritual life to go further. And how we can, these themes which come out from this verse, how we can, it can be applied into our daily lives as well. We can practice, first is we can practice mindful detachment, for example. Just as Maharaj Parikshit, he renounced his kingdom. So, say at the end of the day, we should reflect on how our day was. And was there something that we held on to emotionally? And we can ask ourselves, did this serve my higher purpose? Did this thing really help me, or can I let go? Cultivate devotional habits. In the morning, we chant our rounds, or at least most of our rounds, with chanting or meditation on the names of Krishna. Like we have this Zoom class, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It's like a spiritual nourishment for the soul. Become a sage, page by page. Okay, so we all can become sage and take Muni Vrata, vows of a sage, page by page of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Embrace simplicity and purity. So simple living, high thinking, we all know this, but we have to apply in our lives as well. Reduce all the clutter, eat sattvic food, engage in honest work. This mirrors Maharaj Parikshit's shift from royal luxury to ascetic simplicity. So when we have challenges, we can turn our challenges into growth. When we are faced with challenges or adversities, we should pause and ask, how can this help me grow spiritually? How is there Krishna's hand in this? And how we can see that this is divine arrangement to deepen our surrender, to Krishna. Serve with humility. So whatever we're doing, either spiritual work or material work, we should always, whether it's conditional or constitutional work, we should always serve with integrity and humility. Like, for example, whenever I leave home every morning, I pay obeisances to my deities, and I just say a simple sentence that, my dear Shishi Nitai Gaurchandra, please allow me to do my duty properly. So whether it's conditional duty or my constitutional duty, I just pray, please allow me to do my duty properly. Just a simple prayer like that. And this aligns with the Bhagavatam's emphasis on karma yoga infused with bhakti yoga. And we always have association of devotees, either through morning Bhagavatam classes, Sunday Bhagavatam class, Saturday evening, Bhakti Vriksha, whatever it might be, or with our mentors. So these steps aren't about perfection. They are not about perfection. They are about intention. So even small shifts can ripple into profound transformations. Like we say, small drops will eventually fill the jug. So if we have small shifts in our lives, then it will transform our lives on a larger scale. So I'd like to stop here at 7 o'clock. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Does anyone have any comments or questions? You can please unmute and speak. If not, then thank you very much for your kind attention. And I pray that you all have a nice, blissful, Krishna conscious day. And we hope to see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Ki jai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.